This episode brought to you by Hershey's Chocolate Bar. Hershey's, now give us money.
I have dark chocolate with almonds.
I would have rather preferred plain, but okay.
What do you have?
I have chocolate with almonds.
You have milk chocolate with almonds.
Yeah. I said I would have preferred plain.
So what's wrong with that? You got what
Okay.
you got, and be good with it.
So anyway, after some snares, we finally got into the park early for ERT after we had our complimentary breakfast. Thank you. And for Phantasialand. And in case you're wondering, we stayed at a Hotel Matamba, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Which, getting to breakfast was quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. It's not like M&M's.
It's going to be very food-filled review. We should have done it with Hershey's Kisses.
Maybe. So, after breakfast, we went to ERT.
Went to ERT?
And then, what did you ride first? Terran?
Yeah, we got about a half an hour of ERT on Terran.
Yeah, and everybody kept rewriting that.
It had almost no line, so yeah.
Well, nobody else was in the park. They were all lining up to it. Oh my god, that line was long.
If you don't know what Terran is, why are you listening to this podcast?
Because I didn't know about it until we went.
Okay. It's a launching terrain coaster that goes over and under itself like 58 times or so. I think it has like 116. It does. It has like 116 crossovers. It has 2 launches.
All I remember is watching everyone on that one curve.
Mm-hmm.
Helix.
My thought about this ride, it was good, but I don't know if I would put it as like my number 2 or even my number 10 coaster. The reason why I wasn't a huge fan of Terran, I still like it, so don't set me on fire, people, is that...
I don't think they would.
You never know. Is that there's not that steep drop. There's not that steep drop that makes you go, whoa! Like, there's no, like, this. It's more of like this.
So you only went, whoa.
Mm-hmm. And I know what you're saying. Oh, you didn't ride it in the special seat. I rode it in the front, the middle, and the back several times. I even rode in the very front. I didn't ride in the very back. I think I rode in the second to last row, or maybe the third to last row, something like that. But I still enjoyed it. It just wasn't my favorite roller coaster on the trip.
Okay.
Or out of the now over 800 roller coasters, it's not my top 5 or top 10.
Okay, but what about number 2?
Oh, I want to say one more thing about Terran, which is kind of weird. And, spoiler alert, you're going to hear this twice in these vlog podcasts. Terran sits 2 across, so people who have been on pretty much almost any coaster knows that there's one row which is right next to the queue line.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another row which is right next to the exit area. I rode on the exit side, thinking that, whatever. And I kind of needed to get a little push. So I was thinking like, well, hopefully I can ride Silver Star and G-Force and some other coasters. But here's the thing, I rode it on the other side, so the side next to the queue line, and that side, I didn't need to get pushed in. And I was thinking, there's no way I could have lost like 5 pounds in 10 minutes. So...
Yeah, but where you exited off and you had to do all those stairs and then go around...
I didn't lose 5. I didn't lose like 5 pounds and an inch like that.
I'm joking.
So, there was... I don't know if it was that one or if it was G-Force, but there was... I don't know. I want to try to say this in a nice way. there was a guy who was... He wasn't a size 0. I'll say that.
Okay, so what?
I told him... Darn it. Okay, fine. I told him, you're having mine now?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I told him, ride on the other side. And I think he did, and I think he was able to ride it a little bit better. I don't know if it was that one or if it was G-Force, because I know maybe it was G-Force.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, you'll hear that story during
Holiday park.
on our next episode. Anyway, next up.
Number 2, you rode Colorado Adventure.
Colorado Adventure is a Vekoma mine train where I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just old or picky, but this mine train, like, you've probably heard on many podcasts, people are saying, like, this is the best mine train, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm starting to find all mine trains, kind of jerky and bumpy, even though this is a newer mine train. And wasn't this previously called the Michael Jackson coaster or something?
I don't know.
I think it was. I think he got off and said, like, this is my favorite roller coaster.
Okay.
Hee hee. So anyway, so that was it. By the way, Phantasialand, it's like, this park feels like it should be like 300 acres, but it's crammed into like 40 acres.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you think parks like Hershey Park are a maze to get around, go to Phantasialand and try to find your way around the park. This was probably one of the more confusing parks we went to, with the exception of Trips Drill, and that'll show up, and that'll be later, and you'll find out why.
Just finding the water closets.
The bathrooms, you mean?
Yeah, because when you were on Terran, somebody was late coming to the group to ride the ride.
Mm-hmm.
So I headed back to help her find her way, because that day she was kind of achy and kind of moving a little slow. So went to the bathroom. I mean, you had to go a long way. And in Phantasialand, they were all different lands around. Oh my God. Yeah, working your way around and then trying to find your way back. And plus how the crowd just kept growing and growing to ride the rides. Both of these rides in the beginning of the day were quite crowded.
Yeah, we're going to get into a ride that was very crowded, that we did get some front of the line passes, but we could have used the front of the line on this one too.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, what was next?
I think you did Ghost Rickshaw.
Actually, we were with, should I say their names?
Whatever.
You had more chocolate left? We hung out with Linda and Debbie for most of this trip, and we rode ghost rickshaws. I think that's its English version. The original name is like Geisterrikshan or whatever. It was kind of like it was kind of like an Asian themed haunted mansion.
Yeah, you could say that.
And everyone was like, or I knew what it was. And the description, I think, is like Europe's longest indoor ghost train. And it's like, okay. Ghost train is another word for like a dark ride.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, no, come on, we have to go to Fenju's Palace. And I'm like, this has no line. Plus, it was an Omni mover, so thank you, Drew. So I knew that because of that, it was definitely not going to have a line, and I knew that Kay could handle it. Despite how she might act and think regarding some of the attractions, I do kind of have her health at heart sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went to
Fenju Palace.
Feng Ju's Palace. The reason why I had to do this is because I asked Drew and Legend a few years ago. Drew could pick 5 rides from his Germany trip in a park in Orlando, and one of them that he put was Feng Ju's Palace. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, in case, it's a Vekoma Madhouse, and it's themed to an Asian wedding. You don't go upside down, but you feel...
Yep.
I would maybe say the Efteling one might be a little bit better.
Mm.
But that's only because of Christopher Walken.
Oh.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. We thought it might be.
After this, then, I wanted to do, what is the Rapids ride called? River Quest. I wanted to do River Quest, but that line just went on forever, and after like 20 or 30 minutes we said, let's do something else. So, what did we do?
Rake. R-A-I-K.
We did Rake next?
Yeah, number 5, you did Rake.
Okay.
Vekoma Junior Boomerang.
This is a ride
It
where...
was in the mystery-themed area.
It was in
they
the same...
had single riders.
It was in the same area as Tehran. It actually went around Tehran. You know, Drew likes the Vekoma Boomerangs. I think they're just fine. They're okay. They're not terrible, but there's nothing really super special about them, in my opinion.
Okay, I have to get the chocolate away from me.
They don't have a lot of weightlessness, but they're very smooth and they're pretty fun. I've been on... Is this my second Junior Boomerang? This is my second Vekoma Junior Boomerang, my third Junior Boomerang overall, because I rode Rewind Racers at Adventure City. And that, I rode a couple of times, and this I only rode once because single rider lines can often be longer than regular lines. I don't know why that...
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. I think that's a little odd, but whatever.
Yeah, because they're going to let the groups get on first.
Mm-hmm.
So, you just fill in.
But yeah, it was like maybe a 40-45 minute wait. This wasn't a super long wait. We'll get to that one.
Mm-hmm. So then next you did Chapas.
Oh, the Hurt My Leg ride?
Log flume?
Okay, I did this while Debbie and Linda and you went to Talicon, which is this really cool themed top spin. For me, I did Chapas instead because, Chapas was looked much cooler. No offense.
Well, it was a water ride, so yeah.
Well, okay, it looked more unique. Let me say that. I'm only speaking to the 10 listeners watching this that have long legs. You know how you ride Matterhorn and how it hurts? That's how this felt. After like 20 seconds on this ride, I was like, please just end this ride. My legs are in so much pain. Almost cat fight. Wasn't this when I said, like, hey, can I have, like, a Pepsi or Motrin or something? Like, my legs are really hurting. And the reason why is because I prefer, like, my legs to be like this.
Just cross them.
Cross them.
The ankle.
Yeah, the way they are is more of, like, this.
So it's just not how you're used to sitting.
The way I would describe it is, imagine putting a shoebox between your ankles for 5 minutes while you're getting splashed with freezing cold water.
You could have wore your raincoat.
I'm not going to pull a Legend.
I know. You're on a water ride. You're on a water ride. You expect to get wet.
No, if I wanted to pull a Legend, I'd have to wear a poncho.
Okay. So you want to move on?
Yeah.
We went...
What did Talicon look like? Or
Where?
did that look cool?
Where?
It was the top spin, the one I said 5 minutes
Oh,
ago.
I didn't write it. So
I said, how did it
I
look?
know. I don't even remember, to be honest with
It
you
was the
people.
one with like fire and fog effects.
Oh, yeah. If I didn't write it, anyway, the next one was fun.
Which one?
Moss and chocolate. House of Chocolate. Isn't it?
I think after Chapas, then we got something to eat. We went to that food place.
Oh, I
Then
didn't
we
write that
then
down.
we rode Mouse and Chocolate. Hence the chocolate, people.
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to be every single episode. It's just a coincidence that these two rides had scents themed to food.
Yep.
And I was worried about this ride because I'm not a fan of Toy Story Mania. I find that ride very exhausting and not all that great. And I had heard I'll say his name. Dan the t-shirt guy, he was telling our leader, should I say her name?
Go ahead.
Kate. He was saying like, can you hold my hands? Like can you hold my arms? They're about to fall off. And I was thinking, uh-oh. Fortunately, this is 10 times better than Toy Story Mania. It's less stressful, it's less intense. You're shooting at stuff instead of like doing the slingshot thing. There are scents.
Mm-hmm.
I found, and it just goes on forever, and you want it to go on even longer. And there's even
Didn't we try to ride this twice?
we did ride it. We rode it again. I got to ride it in this near the same area as Dan and family
we were
member.
in the same set.
Should I
the same set?
Can I mention her name?
No, we were in
Okay.
the same set
Mm-hmm.
that they were. Is this the one that you kept like turning, and you had a screen? No, that was
Popcorn's Revenge.
Anyway, those guys were a lot better than I was for shooting dark
Okay.
rides.
It was still fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that we did it twice, and we've been to 2 parks that have had Toy Story Manias, and we've only ridden one Toy Story Mania, but we rode this twice. That should tell you all you need to know, folks.
It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Very entertaining.
Mm-hmm. What's next? Winjas.
No, it was Force Fear, I think.
Winjas.
That was 9, 8.
Okay. Winjas is a twin-tracked spinning coaster with 2 layouts, Force and Fear.
Hmm. Oh, that's where that is.
And it's in some indoor section called Woozy Town, I think.
Fantasy, yeah.
I think it's called Woozy Town, I think.
So you do Force on one side and you do Fear on the other.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. That's why I have 2 coasters written down, folks.
This was one where we saw the line. Is Hollywood Tours coming up?
Mm-hmm. Right after this.
Okay. So, I had seen the line for, spoiler alert, the long line coaster, Crazy Bats, being an hour.
Oh my god.
And at this point, we had only had, 2.5 hours left in the day or so. 2.5, 3 hours. And I don't remember on which track. It might have been, Fear. That during that on the break run, or during a mid-course break run, which, you would have loved this part, where you're on the break run and you're kind of sideways,
Oh no.
and it stopped for
No.
4 or 5 minutes.
No.
And I was thinking, man, I hope we get an exit pass and I can use it on Crazy Bats. I haven't ridden that yet, and that's going to be an hour wait.
Yeah.
So anyway, both spinning coasters are pretty fun. What's next? Hollywood Tours?
And what was the Temple of the Nighthawk?
Crazy Bats.
That's the Temple of the Nighthawk?
Yeah, it got a
Oh,
VR
got it.
makeover as Crazy Bats.
Got it.
That's why I put Crazy Bats.
And I think that's why it was taking so long. You could have
Yeah.
done the VR, or you could have done...
Nope.
Everyone did the VR.
Everyone had to do VR.
Oh, wow. That's why
It wasn't-
over an hour.
Yeah, it wasn't what's the one? It wasn't like the Mount Mara at Babajan Land. What?
No, I'm just looking.
It wasn't like the Mount Mara at Babajan Land where you could choose if you wanted VR or if you didn't want VR, or spoiler alert, Eurosat Can coaster and Pegasus and Alpine Express and all of those other rides where you could have chosen to have VR or not. This one you had to have VR, so we knew that it was going to be like an hour wait, so that's what.
We kept watching it. It was 90 minutes, 75 minutes. I think when it finally got down to
60 minutes.
60, you guys just got.
But anyway, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
Hollywood Tours.
Yes. Dorky.
Anyway, I think you know her opinion on the ride. I did a Hollywood Tours film festival where I reviewed like a bunch of the movies like Kong Skull Island and Tarantula and what were some of the other ones? Oh, Muppets Wizard of Oz, which was my 100th review because they did Wizard of Oz Jaws 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There might have been some other ones.
You're not the only one. I sat through a lot of these movies too.
Yeah. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You didn't see that one. You also didn't see Kong Skull Island. You missed the good one, Kong Skull Island.
Oh well.
But anyway, so I knew what this was, and Drew said that great cheesy ripoff of Great Movie Ride.
Mm-hmm.
And since at least I don't think I've ever been on the Great Movie Ride.
I don't think we have.
We wrote it, and Kay, as I probably have said in previous episodes, she doesn't have the world's strongest back. She's not the $6 million woman. Is that a fair description?
Yeah.
So, I knew it was a boat ride, so I was like, you'll be fine. And then there was a part...
It wasn't that bad.
There's a part where they were, like, soaking up the water, like,
For when you have to sit down? So
like Valhalla. Like Valhalla at Blackpool. And what kind of scared me was the beginning, there's a drop, and then you see a waterfall, and you're like, oh, Justin.
We're gonna get all wet.
Not really.
No. Just a few drops.
And it was like one of those so bad it was good rides. It was a unique ride, so that's why I wanted to do it. Think kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean if it was themed to public domain movies or public domain in Europe movies. Is that roughly a good description?
Yeah, I think so.
And, Tarzan, that was another one. Do you remember that one? We watched Tarzan 2. We originally tried to watch Greystoke, but that had a little too much child nudity for my taste. As in
Kinda
more than a millisecond.
Boring.
And Kay doesn't like it when I tell people, like, hey, you have to ride this ride. But I kept telling people, hey, you have to ride Hollywood Tours, you have to ride Hollywood Tours, you have to ride Hollywood Tours. And you were like, why are you telling people to ride that stupid ride? And I'm thinking, because it's fun. So now let's enter the hour-long wait that is Crazy Bats.
Well, at least you could listen to your MP3 player or
Yeah,
whatever. I just kept watching rides and whatever.
Linda and Debbie wrote this, and they were just kind of like, I think they were talking to each other, and I was just kind of like bopping back and forth like, upside down, bouncing up the ceiling, inside out, stranger to this feeling, ba-da-doo-doo.
You needed some type of distraction.
Yeah.
For how long that was.
It was like 50 minutes to an hour. And the theme, here, I'm gonna try to tell you what the theme of the VR was.
Okay.
Combine Frozen with Hotel Transylvania. The premise is
Monsters and
ice. The premise is that I think three bats are trying to win your affection as a female bat, I guess, or female something. And then one of them gives a snowflake and then sneezes or something, and as a result, you are now encased in a ice coffin as you're going along this crazy thing, kind of like Superstition featuring Elvira, kind of like this crazy track around a house or mansion. Um, and I'm not going to tell you if you make it out or not because I want to leave some spoilers, I guess. But it was a very unique VR.
okay. Hmm. Yeah, do we really want that anymore?
Not for an hour and a half line.
But it was a ride and a coaster, and you got credit for it. So,
We did some other stuff, didn't we?
yeah, we've got two other things that we did in between here and there or after.
Yeah. So the next thing we did was Pirates 4D. This to quote Legend from In the Loop. Hold on, this park still shows Pirates in 4D with Leslie Nielsen? That it does.
Yeah,
What
it
the
was
heck?
it was funny. It was. If you have watched Naked Gun or Airplane
Yeah.
or yeah, any of these movies with Leslie
Yeah,
Nielsen.
if you've seen a Leslie
Oh
Nielsen
my
movie,
God.
like
It was
Airplane,
funny.
he was an airplane, right?
Yeah.
Like if
I
you've
think he
seen,
was.
yeah, he was.
Okay.
And
Well,
don't call me Shirley.
the one thing is that we're all sitting there and we see Leslie Nielsen and and then you just started laughing.
No, wait. We're sitting next to a guy. We're sitting next to a guy on our trip.
Oh
who,
yeah.
Because I kept talking about it, I guess he decided to see it. I guess he decided to see that time as well. And I'm sorry.
Well, because his back couldn't handle some of the rides.
No, what I was saying.
that's what-
Okay, I'm saying I'm sorry, but I did ask Legend if I've never seen it. Will I understand it? And he said you should be fine. So I was like, okay. And I was like, come on, Kay and Debbie and Linda, come on, let's see this. I have no idea what it's gonna be, and it has Leslie Nielsen as this stupid pirate, Captain Lucky. Like a lot of
if you know his
it's
slapstick, in
yeah,
his
all of it
movies,
is slapstick.
Oh my God! And this one pirate, oh my God, he kept getting like his toes stomped on, poked in the eye. You see him later, and he's got 2 eye patches on his eyes because of all the stuff that Leslie Nielsen has done.
And I'm sorry, but when I find something funny, I laugh.
And
So
all these people in front of us kept looking back at you. Oh my God!
and I was like, and at the end of it, I was telling the guy I was sitting next to, was like, sorry, I thought it was funny.
It was. I think we were all laughing because you were laughing. But yeah, Leslie Nielsen, it's slapstick and stupid funny.
Please see this.
So good.
It was hilarious. And
But then the end, are you going to tell him what they made him do?
nah.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, it was 4D, so I don't
Yeah.
know if the seats shook, but there were some like bubbles and there were some like rain effects and stuff.
Yeah. Didn't something go at the back of our seats too, or something, or underneath us? Or...
Maybe or maybe you're thinking of Ice Age or
Oh.
Bug's Life, or Stuff to Be a Bug. I mean, maybe it did,
But it was worth. It was a good break after
Mhm.
waiting for Crazy Bats, because we had a little bit of time and kind of going out of the park. I think it was because we were in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
So then the other one.
So then, and I will punish myself by being quiet while you discuss the Funhouse and how it hurt you.
Okay. So we went to the Crazy Hotel, the Fun House. It had some things that you kind of had to be athletic, more in shape probably than I was. Um, because, typical fun house, you've got the circular things, and you've got, did it have the slanted room or the room that you felt small or big or whatever? But then there was this staircase, and animals don't eat that sweet. Then there was a staircase, and as you stepped on it, the other one went up. So it was like this, going up and down, up and down, up and down. And later, I found out that you could have gone around it. So they always had like a walk around to some of these things that were in this house. But that was that part and the end. Yeah, those were quite the challenge in this fun house.
You didn't do the ending.
I know. I walked down. You did the slide, and you got to pick which slide you wanted to do. They had two slides or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't controlling people going down. So I mean,
Yeah, they kind of were.
You had to go down, get off, get your shoes, and get out of the way.
Because I would just I sat down and I put my shoes back on, and they just sent a guys, or they just sent a kid. So it's like boom. I'm like, okay, I'll get up.
Gotta get out of the way. Gotta get out of the way.
So I'm sorry about the fun house.
Yeah, there were some things that one part though I found out was a walk around.
Yeah.
But it was kind of late. I would have liked to have walked around those stairs, but
no, the ladder.
Yeah, that was.
Why would you have wanted to walk around the stairs?
No, the ladder.
You mean you would have wanted to do the slide?
No, the thing. It was
the ladder.
Well, I called it stairs that were like going like this up and down, but I guess you got to kind of experience it something. Just like in the water closets. Some of them at this park were very compact and squished. And you walked in and you saw in the guy's bathroom as you were in the ladies' bathroom. And what would never pass in the States is
the funhouse ladder.
No, the guy.
The funhouse ladder wouldn't have passed in the U.S.
No, but they do have some around. But no, in the WCs, men are cleaning.
You can't say bathrooms?
Well, they were WCs, water closets. Men were cleaning them while women were in the bathroom. It was like, okay, this is a little odd. Yep. And you could see right into the men's room, and it's like, okay, please, that's enough. I guess we're more protected or something in the States, or
more like conservative, I would say.
Yeah, and conscious of stuff, so.
And I'm not saying that politically, I'm just saying.
But the fun house was an experience.
The guy that I had sat next to, I asked him, like, could Kay handle the fun house? He was like, yeah, sure,
Yeah, but he did the walkarounds. I didn't know about them.
I didn't either. Do you think I would have told you about that?
Yes, I think you would have.
Okay,
Was that about it that we did at Phantasialand?
No, there were two others.
What?
I
don't think so.
River Quest and
Oh yeah, you
and
did.
And Black Mamba.
I don't show Black Mamba on here. Oh yeah, I do. Sorry, quick pass.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, River Quest, I found out that you can walk up the exit, and that's a single rider line. Or that's the quick pass entrance. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, some of these rides, you could not tell where the quick pass was. And what it was is somebody on the trip before us, like, I would be standing at the outside while people were coming, and they were like, which way do we go? And I said, oh, you got to go this way. Kind of saved them a little bit of time when it took us a little bit to figure out. But, hey, we're all in it together.
So anyway, I was the only one who did River Quest.
Nobody else wanted to get that wet. And people were
One
coming
of
off
them,
wet.
one of them wanted to earlier, but not now.
Yeah. Well, one of them borrowed my jacket on one of the other rides.
It was starting to get a little cold, yeah. So anyway, I rode it. I rode with a group of people, and I was like, man, I hope I get wet. I hope I get wet. I hope I get wet. Please let me get wet.
And they were like, no, we don't want to get wet.
Spoiler alert.
You do get wet.
I was the only one to get super wet on the boat.
Yeah.
The ride has like has a, not a giant waterfall like on Grizzly Run or at Disney or probably even Cali. But the ride has it has three 10 to 15 foot drops. It's not a typical slow moving gentle rapids ride. It's just like a crazy rapids ride. And so I got the entire splash, and even if you took everyone else, I was still wetter than anyone else.
Yep.
And here's something you would have loved on this ride. And I say that sarcastically, folks. You know how most rapids rides have like that lift hill at the end, like Roaring Rapids at Great America? This one, you kind of like go around like this, and then you go into this, and then you go right here. And then it lifts you up like an elevator.
Ugh.
And then you go through the ride.
Okay, no.
Oh, by the way, no seatbelts or restraints. You're gonna pass out from fear.
Yeah, well, luckily I didn't go on it.
Yeah, afterwards, I think... Did we have Phantasialand money? Or did we have some extra euros?
Well, we had a group lunch.
Then we might...
No, we had 15 euros, Phantasialand euros.
Because I think I might have used a couple of euros for the dryer. And I was in there for like 10 or 15 minutes just trying to dry off, and I still wasn't. And you were saying like, Justin, you have to do this, you have to do this. And I'm like, do you want to come in? Here, you write a request and then tell me how to dry off.
Yeah, everybody was trying to figure out that dryer. It was odd.
Mm-hmm.
So while you were in there, other people were going in and stuff.
Yeah.
Heck, you were paying for it, and it was made for like 2 or 3 people.
I thought it was made for like 4 or 5, it felt like.
Yeah, well, people were squishing in.
Like
I feel that's why nobody ever really got dry in that thing, because you only got like one section of air.
Yeah, I was taking off my shoes and like trying to like air them out or something. I was pulling a legend.
Whatever. But then you had...
I didn't do Mystery Castle, but I wish I did. Oh well.
Mystery Castle was down at the bottom.
It was next to River Quest. It was the indoor drop towers.
Yeah, but wasn't it at the bottom of the hill?
It was next to the exit.
Oh.
We saw it by the heaters.
Okay. And then you did that one.
Black Mamba.
And that was a quick pass.
It was a B&M inverted coaster. I don't remember a whole lot about it.
That was the only one in Deep in Africa section that we did. But Phantasialand had so many rides. You thought you were going the right direction, but you weren't going the right direction. You thought you found the exit, but that wasn't even the entrance. And so many doors, and oh my god.
It has a lot of theming, but
yes,
it's got a very confusing layout.
Yeah. You go in a lot of circles. You think you're going the right way, and then you go part of the way, and you're like, no, it wasn't by the palace. It's got to be the other way.
Yeah,
you were trying to remember where certain things were that you walked by that you could remember to go back
there was
to
one
section.
time. There was one time where we were trying to get to. Okay, after Tehran, I wanted to do Rake because it was in the same area. And we ended up going to Benju's Palace. And then I was like, okay, let's go to Rake this way. And I was like, well, this should be the line for Rake. What's this line for? Terron. Oh, okay. Ugh. They need signs in the park.
And they did not have a lot of food places open.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's
just
another.
even
And it's
even
another
to
one.
get water or something, wasn't it kind of a warm day that turned cool?
Yeah.
So
But what was cool was
a lot of walking.
I saw a bunch of people with like 1 and 2 liter sodas. I was thinking, we should have done that. That would have saved us probably 30 euros.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? Overall, it was a good day. Everyone kind of rode a lot and got what they wanted to ride in it. Some of the smaller rides had long lines too, and if you did even find how to get into them, you were lucky. So
This park needs like
more signs to say where things are.
I was gonna well that
Arrows, it's like, but that one park we went to, you couldn't tell which way the arrow was pointing.
which one?
I don't remember. There were like tons of arrows.
Oh, Efteling maybe.
I don't remember. Another
What
big park.
I think Phantasialand needs something that can carry like 1,500 at least riders an hour. Hopefully Fly will be able to do that. I have thoughts. But like maybe a B&M Hypers, B&M Giga.
But the thing
I
is,
have no
that
idea what they would
it's
need.
so crowded.
Yeah, and I think higher capacity attractions might
And
help.
they've got tons of rides, but everything had lines. And I think we get spoiled in the States because you get a fast pass all the time or you go at a certain time.
We even got spoiled on this trip. There were tons of rides with fast passes.
But I mean, in the States, you know what times to go,
Mm-hmm.
that you can work around the crowds and, stuff like that because a lot of the parks you've gone to. But these parks in Europe were an
Some of the
adventure
parks
in
in Europe.
themselves.
Some of the parks in Europe. There were others where it's like, how are you guys still operating?
Yeah.
Which we will talk about in our next episode, where we encounter the world's best coaster.
You think?
A park that, if we were blind, we'd only have slightly more trouble getting around. And 2 rides that are not safe for work.
That are not safe for work?
NSFW.
And
Not safe for work. That's what it stands for. Anyway, enjoy the next episode where parental discretion might be advised.
uh-oh. Bye.
Subscribe to me and I'll subscribe back.